White Plains is a very misunderstood city. Often, when I'm talking with people who are coming up from the city, there's this perception that White Plains is the middle of nowhere, it's up in the woods, and that couldn't be further from the truth. It's honestly one of my favorite places to be in Westchester County. So today, let's talk about some of the pros and cons of living in White Plains, New York. And hey, if we haven't met before, my name's Zach White. I'm a realtor with the Ritchie team at Keller Williams right here in White Plains, and my job is delivering the dream of home ownership across all of Westchester County. So let's get right into it and let's talk about some of the pros and cons of White Plains. First off, and this might be kind of an ironic thing to list as a pro, but it's really easy to get out of White Plains and go anywhere else in the county. It's kind of the crossroads of Westchester County. There's a train station that's going to get you to Grand Central on an express train in about 35 minutes. There's multiple parkways and highways that crisscross Westchester County and intersect in White Plains. So you've got 287 running east-west across the north part of the city. You can go west out to Tarrytown and across the bridge into Rockland County. You can go east towards Portchester and out into Connecticut as well. You can also easily get to the Sprainbrook Parkway, the Hutchinson River Parkway, the Bronx River Parkway, 87 as well if you want to get north-south throughout Westchester County. If you are coming out of the city and you're trying to just land and get your feet wet for a year before you decide where you want to be long term, White Plains is a great base of operations for exploring Westchester County as a whole. Another great pro of living in White Plains is it's a small city kind of lifestyle. It's a great stepping stone for people who are coming out of the city and they want to get their feet wet in the suburbs, but they don't want to give up the lifestyle of being able to walk around and explore on foot. The core of the city is very walkable. You can easily get to restaurants, shopping, groceries, and things to do on foot. Mamaroneck Avenue has one of the most populated bar and restaurant scenes in Westchester County, with everything from small local delis and coffee shops all the way to sports bars, national chains, and award-winning date night spots. Another big pro of living in White Plains is the relatively lower property taxes compared to surrounding areas. And if you're watching this video from outside of New York State, you're probably thinking I'm crazy, but the ability to find a single-family home with property taxes in the $10,000 to $15,000 range makes White Plains relatively affordable compared to surrounding towns and villages. Because it's a city with a decently large commercial tax base, homeowners don't shoulder as much of the tax burden as their neighbors in Scarsdale, Larchmont, and the river towns, where the taxes on a physically similar house can easily be double or more. Another big pro of living in White Plains, New York, is the housing diversity that there is available. And what I mean by that is whatever you're looking for in a home, whether that's a studio co-op or a multi-million-dollar estate, you can find it here in White Plains. In downtown and just north along North Broadway, there's a good mix of co-op and condo buildings. If you're looking for a one or even two bedroom condo, you can still find this in White Plains for $300,000 to $400,000. If you're open to co-ops, you can go even lower. At the same time, you can find beautiful, sprawling, multi-million-dollar single-family homes and high-rise condos. And one more big pro of living in White Plains is how much green space there is for what really is, at the end of the day, a city. There's multiple golf courses, both public and private. There's a park called Saxon Woods that borders White Plains and Scarsdale. It's 700 acres. There's a pool, there's mini golf, there's horseback riding and hiking trails. Any place you're going to live is going to have both pros and cons, and White Plains is no different. So let's talk about some of the cons of living in White Plains. Number one is the way elementary school enrollment is handled. There are 5 public elementary schools across White Plains, and it is not as simple as geographic zoning. It's actually a lottery system. So when your kid is enrolling in kindergarten, you apply for the school that you want to be in, but they do it on a lottery system. So you might wind up living in one neighborhood and your kids go to school across town. They do take your preference into account, but they also state clearly that they balance gender, socioeconomic, and demographic diversity across the district. They do guarantee keeping siblings together, so if you've got an older kid in 2nd or 3rd grade and your younger one is enrolling, they're gonna go to the same school, but that's the only way to avoid the lottery system. Another big con of living in White Plains is the parking enforcement. There is no overnight parking on city streets anywhere in the city year round, and they are aggressive about ticketing for that. So if you're living in one of the more residential neighborhoods, you've got a house with a driveway, maybe a garage, you're fine. But if you're in one of the co-op or condo buildings, if you're living downtown and you don't have a dedicated parking space, you're going to have a tough time with that. Another thing to note about the public school system here in White Plains, and this could be a pro or a con depending on what you are looking for in a public school, is the sheer size of it. It's a big, densely populated high school. The neighboring school districts are typically going to be much smaller. You know, Scarsdale, the river towns like Dobbs Ferry and Hastings-on-Hudson, Pleasantville, Eastchester. These are all going to be 500 to 1,000 kids in the 9 to 12 grade student body, whereas White Plains is typically over 2,000 each year. Another way to put that is the graduating class in White Plains can be bigger than the entire high school student body in some of the neighboring districts. Again, that could be a pro or a con to you depending on what you're looking for in a school. So there you go. Those are some of the pros and cons of living here in White Plains, New York. Did I miss something important? Let me know in the comments. If you found this video helpful and you're thinking about making a move out of the city up here into Westchester, but you really don't know where to start, give me a call or send me an email. I'd be happy to have a quick consultation with you and talk about how we can help. And be sure to like and subscribe and check back for more videos about living in Westchester County.